Welcome back, everyone, to the smartest year ever, our quest to one of the world's greatest conversationalists. My name is Gordy, hey, and this week is all about food. One strange, surprising, fun food fact per day. Today we're talking about the invention of potato chips. Like and subscribe if you haven't so you can keep up every single day. I do this every single day. If you've ever angrily sliced a vegetable out of spite, you may have invented something. Or at least that is how the story goes. The most famous origin tale of the potato chip starts in 1853 at Moon's Lake House, a resort restaurant in Saratoga Springs, New York. A customer, allegedly some kind of persnickety Vanderbilt type, kept sending his fried potatoes back to the kitchen. He said they're too thick. They're too soggy. They're not crispy enough. And Chef George Crumb, who was part Native American and part African American, he finally lost patience. He sliced the potatoes as thin as possible, fried them until they shattered, and over-salted them for good measure. The customer, of course, he loved them, and thus the Saratoga chip was born. Great story. Very American, spite-driven innovation followed by immediate mass approval, but like most food origin stories, it's more complicated than that. George Crumb was definitely real. He was already a well-known chef in the region, and it's true he did help popularize thin, crispy potato slices, but the details of the angry customer and the retaliatory slicing don't appear in any documentation until decades later, and likely came from retrospective advertising or myth-building around the brand. There's even a competing version that credits Crumb's sister, Catherine Wicks, with the invention. Either way, the tale is part legend, part sales pitch. Also worth noting, paper-thin fried potatoes already existed before 1853. In 1817, a British cookbook called The Cook's Oracle by William Kitchiner, great last name for what he does, included a recipe for potatoes fried in slices or shavings, which were cut about the thickness of a penny. Not quite Lay's, but the idea was clearly out there. What Crumb did do, though, was popularize the chip, especially in Saratoga Springs, where they became a local delicacy. For decades, Saratoga chips were a specific thing, sold in fancy restaurants, then in paper cones, and eventually in tin containers for home use. But chips didn't go full national snack mode until the 20th century. In the 1920s and 30s, mechanical potato slicers and peelers made it easier to produce chips at scale, and then came one of the most important people in snack food history, Laura Scudder, a California entrepreneur who in 1926 came up with the idea of packaging chips in wax paper bags that were then ironed shut. Before that, chips were stored in barrels or tins and they went stale almost immediately. Her moisture-resistant bag changed everything. Chips could travel. Chips could sit on shelves. Chips were free. Cats are freaking out. But in 1932, a guy named Herman Lay began selling chips out of the trunk of his car in the South. He would later go on to found Lay's, the first national potato chip brand. Lay's merged with Frito in 1961, and that's where Frito-Lay comes from. Chips officially went corporate at this point. You know, flavors followed: barbecue in the 1950s, sour cream and onion in the 1970s. Now it's just like every taste or feeling imaginable, like taco stand at 3 a.m. in South Tennessee flavored, or like electricity flavored or something. Today, Americans eat about 1.85 billion pounds of potato chips a year. Wow. We led the world in chip consumption. Not exactly an underdog story. Meanwhile, in the UK, what we call chips, they call crisps, and what they call chips are fries. If you order chips in London, you're getting a thick slab of fried potato. If you want thin ones, you gotta say crisps. So there you have it. George Crumb may not have single-handedly invented the potato chip, but he helped kick off a billion-dollar snack industry, whether out of genius or just culinary pettiness. Thank you to all my sources, which can be found in the YouTube description. Leave a comment, rate, like, subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. Check out the 1-minute version, which can be found on social media everywhere at Smartest Year Ever. That's where you can find me. And in the meantime, stay curious and stay clever on our quest to become the world's greatest conversationalists. I will see you tomorrow in the Smartest Year Ever. Tomorrow we're taking potatoes to the next level. We're going French fries. Are they really French? Find out tomorrow.